Namaste everyone. I think we will start because now it's 7:33 past. So I'll put in, we should start. Basically, given that we got 1.5 hours, we should start with the thing. Namaste everyone. Welcome to the Infinity Foundation's intellectual series of talks. Now, today I've got a very, very interesting topic. In fact, I think I feel very fortunate to have Mr. Uma Mahesh talking about one of the unique aspects of Hinduism, about Akshara itself. So, as goes the saying, there's a mantra called Om Ityek Aksham Brahma, means that Om is a sound that is unperishable or immutable, as per our Vedas. So it is also called Shabda Brahman. Our rishis have actually discovered that this sound manifests as 4 progressively evolutionary levels, the Para, Pasyanti, Madhyama, and Vaikhari. So sound is not what you hear, but it has got 4 levels, and what you see outer one is basically the Vaikhari sound. So it is this deep insight into the nature of Shabda that our rishis have delved into the depths of human consciousness and realized the truths of this cosmos. This is something very unique to us, our Sanatana Dharma, or to the Hinduism, and it is pretty much, we can proudly say it is alien to any other religion or culture. And today we have a special guest, as I said before, Mr. Sri Uma Mahesh Ji, who is presenting this very unique topic to us. I welcome him. Sri Uma Mahesh Ji is an author, researcher, and an applied linguist. He is an eloquent speaker. And without much ado, let us dive into his Akshara Science session. This is a 2-part session, and Uma Mahesh has a lot of interesting things to share with us. And then the breakup of the session is that Uma Mahesh will be running his session for 1 hour, and then the rest half an hour will be left to the question answers. And then Uma Mahesh, Swagatam, can you please start your session?
Okay. Thank you. Namaste. Can I share my screen?
You can share the screen. I can give the co-host access to you. Then you can, yeah.
Om Omkara Bindu Samyuktam Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginaha Kamadam Mokshadam Tasmai Omkaraya Namo Namaha. As rightly said by Rauji, that there is a pranava and the phonetics, Vedas, like not just talking from the sound to soul. There is a proper connection, proper mapping in our Hindu Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. So for that, the basis is the Aksharams. I'm going to present like 2 series webinar. This is my mind map. I just go through what I'm actually thinking to present. This is my mind map. Like we need to understand origins of this Akshara, what is Vedic phonetics, and how actually Vedas were used to taught and all these things. And from where the Aksharas came, and what is Pratishakya, what is Shiksha Shastra, and what is Vedanga, what is actually Vedic linguistics, all these things. And next thing is the Akshara science. If you see the Akshara table, that is called Akshara Samamnayam, from A to Ksha, every element, every place, there's a lot of meaning, lot of logic, and you will be astonished if you were really deep into that subject and understand each and every element. You will be astonished. It's equivalent or more than the chemistry elementary table actually. So that we discuss in the Akshara science. This is part 1. And next thing is Akshara applications, where and all we used Akshara. We used in Katapaya the system, Aryabhatta enumeration, Aryabhatta used for the astronomical calculations and all. And also it is a preserver of linguistic diversity. India, I mean to say the greater India actually, political India right now also has lot of languages, more than 700 languages and 1,000 plus dialects. It's a huge humongous linguistic diversity still living. Biodiversity and linguistic diversity, they are proportional. If there is linguistic diversity, you will see the biodiversity. Biodiversity means not just human beings, all the flora, fauna, everything will happily live there if there is a linguistic diversity. This is a research actually outcome. So in India, by the grace of rishis, by the grace of the Sanatana Dharma, we are preserving this biodiversity as well as a linguistic diversity. That is one thing. That's the impact of Akshara, that's influence. Also, art, science, lot of things are influenced by Akshara. Inner sciences, spiritually, for example, there is a Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, a lot of like Kashmiri Saivism and many sects and yoga, tantra, they are influenced by Akshara. Without Akshara, Sanatana Dharma will be void. So this we'll discuss in this influence, Akshara applications influence. And fourth one is contemporary challenges. Current setup, what are the challenges to the Akshara and what solutions we have? There is the biggest thing, easily I can tell, the challenge is Akshara in the alphabet. You don't have sa, sha, sa. Only you have yes in English alphabet. And also you like ta and ta, you use T. For da and da, you use D. For like that, many things. And Rama, R-A-M-A, if you write, whether it is Rama or Rama, we don't know. There is no short vowel and long vowel distinction. Nowadays, due to the digitization, mainly on the ASCII keyboard, alphabetic keyboard, we need to shrink the sounds. Entire world phonetics is shrinked by the alphabetic keyboard. It's like an elephant in a small box. So this is the contemporary challenge, one of the contemporary challenge. We have many solutions. All these things, these four will be covered as part of this 2 series webinar. Today's first topic is origins of Akshara, Vedic phonetics and Akshara science. Purely this is Vedic related, and sutras, all these things we'll discuss in a simpler terminology, not like traditional one, but I'll touch base all the traditional stuff. This is my mind map, and I'll be showing my first pack of presentation, that is origins of Akshara. Here you see this map. In this map, one of the recent research, they say like there are 6,900 languages. In that, 50% of world's languages are located only some of the parts here, not other places. There is no linguistic diversity. All languages are condensedly placed in some places. In Australia, there are a lot of Aboriginal languages other than English. That's why it is. And Papua New Guinea and India. Other places, there are a lot of Aboriginal languages. But India, specialty of India is currently political India and greater India also. I'll show what is exactly Greater India comprises of and what related information. In India, in current political India also, as per 2001 census, there are 122 languages, more than like 1 million speakers are native speakers are those, and 10,000 people are speaking 122, and 30 languages are spoken by 1 million native speakers. Very importantly, there are 780 languages and 1599 dialects still living there. And very important thing is, in those languages, some of the languages have 2000 years literary history. They are classical languages. They have matured linguistic, the grammar and the phonetics, etymology. Etymology means like dictionaries, all things are profound. They have profound linguistics. They are classical languages. Example is Vedic Sanskrit, Vedic and normal, like whatever, Laukika Sanskritam, Tamil, Pali, Kannada, Telugu, Odia, Malayalam, Braj, Awadhi, so on. A lot of languages. All these things are only because of Vedic framework, Vedic linguistics. Due to Vedic linguistics, this maturity and the stability, it's like a mansion. If the mansion is strength enough, like that strength, entire strength of that mansion depends on the foundation. So our foundation is Vedic linguistics. We'll discuss what is that Vedic linguistics and related information. Here, if you see, you can see currently Tibet also has Greater Indian means place there. Whatever you use is Akshara related only. That's why I say this is Akshara Khandam. Bharata Khandam is nothing but Akshara Khandam. Old India, Suraseni, Braj, Magadhi, all these things, Prakrtas in northern India, southern India, you have Tamil, Sangam literature, and Kerala, Manipravalam, you have each and every place, there's a 2000 plus years history in India. This is all because of Vedic linguistics. Now we'll see what is this this is a greater India. The greater India as of now, maybe politically it is only India and Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tibet, Yunnan, a province in China, Burma, Thai, all these things comprise of greater India. This is Bharatachandam. Here, all the languages used to be now also predominantly like Bahasa Indonesia and Thai, Burmese, Tibetan, Yunnan province, whatever, like a Javanese, all these things are used the same kind of style. Kacheta Tapa, the same Vedic phonetic sequence, the Akshara based, impact. So previously, this was Gandhara is Kandahar, Afghanistan, Uttarakuru, Trivishtapa is Tibet, and Kirata is Burma and Yunnan provinces, Vodra is Orissa. These are based on the Mahabharata sources and all. Champa is Philippines, Vietnam. So Yavadvipa is Java now, and Borneo is Suvarnadvipa. So this entire thing is Greater India. I can say this is Akshara Khandam. Greatest of Greater India is phonology, the phonetics, etymology, grammar, whatever you say, astronomy. This is the origin point to all those things. And also those inventions are peaceful and selfless inventions of rishis. Very, very important thing is Vedic linguistic, the current topic, and all these things for the sake of this seeking. And there are a lot of tolerance in this area. Mainly the Akshara Khandam, if you focus on only Akshara and linguistic part, Brahmi orthography is used everywhere. I can say I need to note, like, there is a Lipi is different and Akshara phonetic system is different. Maybe you can use a Devanagari or Telugu or maybe Gujarati or any script, Malayalam, but the basis phonetic Akshara system is common all over India. That's very, very important. Maybe the Brahmi orthography influenced, you have different similar scripts, but the Akshara phonetic system, which are based on the Vedic phonetic system, is common across Greater India. Because of that, still that 5,000 years old Akshara system is practiced by 1 billion people. Still it is living. If you say Sanskrit is a language, Mrta Bhasha or something, you can say still 1 billion people are scientifically using that. So this is about Akshara, and now we'll introduce the Vedic system. How the Vedas used to taught in Gurukulams. The Gurukulams are, maybe you can see some ruins here. This ruin is Takshashila, one of the greatest university, Takshashila. It is in Pakistan now, and Nalanda and Benares, Varanasi. So this Gurukulams, what used to teach? What Bharati Shastras in this Gurukulams are? Maybe medicine, that is Ayurveda, Upoveda for Ayurveda is Upoveda, Atharvaveda, and political administration, defense, Rajaniti, Dhanurveda, all these things used to teach. Logic and philosophy, that is Darshan Shastras. There are Darshan Shastras like Nyaya, Sankhya, Vaiseshika, all these things. And also Artha Veda and Vanik Shastram, all these things. Mathematics, which is astronomy as well as Ganita. Actually, Vedangas has a topic that is Jyotisha Shastra, Jyotisha Vedanga. Jyotisha is the origin point for this entire mathematics, like and astronomy. There is a Surya Siddhanta and all. Movable, immovable, that is Sthapatya Veda. And Gandharva system has two branches. One is a dance. Bharatanatyam Shastra is a ancient thing, which is for, there is a Alankara Shastra, and all these things are zipped and put as part of the Bharatanaट्य Shastra. And Gandharva Shastra, there is Sangeeta Ratnakara, lot of, and Brihadesi, these all related to music. And literature and linguistics, we are going to discuss about that. That is literature and linguistics. So these all you taught, and very importantly, this is a high scale education system. High scale means you just need to memorize and listen and learn. Because the knowledge is humongous, you need to listen, learn, and repeat it. Repeat it means it's not just a poem kind of thing. For each and everything, there is a meaning. That meaning should be applied in day-to-day life. So all these things are taught as a musical accent kind of thing. That is maybe mantra or sutra that should be memorized. And so many techniques for that listening and memorization. There's a patha, kramapatha, padapatha, lot of things. All these things are known as Shruti Vidya. Even music also is Shruti Vidya. You need to listen and exactly practice. And Ayurveda is actually Shruti Vidya because you should apply that on somebody. But if you are reading something in the book, the process is very slow. Whereas you are learning, listening, and practicing, it is always, that is high scale. Education system was like that. For that purpose, sound is very, very important thing. That's Swajaya and Pravachana. Swajaya means you need to study, self-study, memorize, and Pravachana is Guru teaches you. So sound is very, very important thing here. That's called Shruti Vidya. And in this, for that Shruti Vidya, Vedanga linguistics are very, very, very important. That's like a heart. Vedanga linguistic, what are Vedanga linguistic? What is Vedanga? Vedanga is nothing but, it comprises of 6 shastras. 6. There are 4 linguistic related aspects and 2 non-linguistic, but other things like, I'll explain 4 linguistic aspects afterwards, but other things are Kalpa and Jyotisha. For example, if you want to perform a rite or yajna, what date you need to perform, what time you need to perform, that is told by Jyotisha Shastra. And how to perform the rite or yajna is that can be done, that can be, that is directed as per the Kalpa Sutras. Kalpa Sutras has 3 types of things. Gruhya Sutra, and the Gruhya Sutras is household related, and Yajna related, Shrauta Sutras, and also the Sulba Sutras. The Sulba Sutra is the origin point for the geometry. These 2 are related to how to perform and when to perform, and what type of mantra you need to chant, and that mantra related, all the linguistic aspects and Vyakarana, all these things are covered by other 4 parts. That is Siksha Shastra, nothing but phonetics. Nirukta is etymology or about is example like nowadays dictionary and Nigantu kind of thing. And third thing is how those words you join and perform. You perform. That is nothing but Vyakarana Shastra. That is grammar. And fourth one is Chandas, meteor. How many syllables should be there in the mantra? After some 1,000 years also, number of syllables won't change. So you preserve the Vedas as it is. These are all the 4 important aspects of the Vedanga, 4 linguistic related and 2 Kalpa and Jyotisha. That's why these 3 called as Shadangas, Shat Shastras. And that's what I explained. Vedanga Siksha is the origin point for our discussion. That is phonetics, that is the Akshara. Because of that, all the languages are living now. And Nirukta Shastra, I told, Dhatus also depending on that, Nirukta Shastra. And other 2 things I discussed, Chandas and Vyakarana. This is a mansion. This entire mansion is Vedic linguistic mansion. If you want to understand any civilization, whether it is matured or not, just know about their language, what they use, what linguistics, and how what kind of valuable terms they are using for their inner sciences, spirituality, as well as the administration, also for commerce. Then you can understand whether civilization is great or not. By these,
Maheshji, sorry to interrupt. Would you mind actually zooming up this presentation, please? It is the next slide is occupying your entire screen. So can you make the main slide more visible? Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. Is that okay?
That is good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will, yeah, that's a humongous Vedic knowledge. That knowledge is like it is depending on this Vedangas and the other divisions. And here the Vedic knowledge, previous if you observe like 5,000 years back, that is called as per the Dwapara Yuga and the end of Dwapara Yuga, there's a great person called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. He observed due to the increased pleasures and all, people are not able to, their memory is less and patience and focus is less. That's why he wanted to divide them into different parts and distribute, so that that particular disciple or his community will take care of that. So he divided into mainly 4, but that 4 again got divided into different sakhas. Sakha is nothing but a branch, Vedic branch. There are 1,000 branches for Samaveda, 100 branches for Yajurveda, 21 for Rik, and 9 for Atharvana Veda. But this 1130 Veda Shakas, when it started like 5,000 years back, now only around 30 Shakas are available. In that also, they're not in complete shape. To protect these things, what they used to do is each Kulapati is nothing but a person who has 1,000 plus students. That he is known as Kulapati. Kulapatis, all Kulapatis used to have a Vedic summit kind of thing, knowledge summit. That's nothing but Parishad. Parishad word came from there only. And they used to write a catalog. They are called Pratishakyas. These Pratishakyas have some rules, how to pronounce, what kind of thing Sandhi should come. A lot of precautions they took, and they preserved the Vedic knowledge. And also they had different kind of patams also, and Hastamudras. Hastamudras I'll explain. Hastamudra is nothing but, for example, every aksharam has some mudra. Every aksharam has, sign language. Sign language, probably for a word and sentence, you have a mudra. But for Hastamudra, for Vedic Hastamudra, still it is living, is practiced by Kerala Nambudri Brahmins, Rigvedic tradition in Samveda. For each aksharam, there is a mudra, and they're preserving. This is only influenced our, Natya Sastra and all. The first mime in the world, sign language. And the patam are Samhita patam and Pada patam, Krama patam are the natural things which are Prakriti patam. For example, first line of Rigveda I'll take Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Vritvijam. They just chant it. These kind of things, maybe you will have some 1 million mantras they need to keep in their memory and recite again and again, and they need to understand also, apply. This one thing, Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Vritvijam, this small sentence, they need to practice, memorize, and also Padapatam they need to devise. Agnim Ile Puram Hitam Yajnasya Devam Vritvijam. And again, Kramapatam, Agnim Ile Purohitam Yajnasya, like that they need to practice and understand. And then they also have Vikriti Patam. So this is all to remember and understand the meaning properly, grammatically understand the meaning and apply. So they gave lot of focus on the phonetics part. Phonetics is very, very important for the Vedic literature, even mantras, and also not just mantras, for even introspection also, for spiritual self-realization also. Very important thing is Shabda. So they took a lot of focus on that. The Hastachalana mudras are like that. I just show you a small video. That video actually explain you still the how the traditions are living. This is a Hastamudra. It's practiced in Nambudri Brahmins. Say this whatever the rocks, pebbles here are 10 mandalas of Rigveda. Each mandala is approximately some 10 books, I can say. So those books, one of the thing he picks up and he tests this Astaka and mandala, and this person, and he shows some hasta mudras and he will start chanting that. So this is one example.
Is there a sound to that thing, or it's just on video?
Yeah, yeah, there is a sound.
That's fine.
Actually,
I mean,
yeah. So this is one thing, and learning also from childhood, they use head and hand movements for every swaram as well as the aksharam. These are two examples I am giving. This is the this is the density of our phonetics and Vedic linguistics. So it went from, if you see this mansion, this is aksharam, varnam. Varnam is properly developed, and there are dhatus, and from dhatu there is a nirukta nighantu, and each two words there is a agreement, proper vibhakti, samasa, and then they built vyakarana, and that very beautifully they could express using Chandas Shastra, either sloka or bhashanam or anything, any narratives. So this is the linguistic mansion, Vedic linguistic mansion. To protect this entire Vedic linguistic mansion or anything, nowadays languages also, our mother tongues of India, you need to protect the aksharam. Now we'll go to our Vedic akshara topic, very, very important thing. That is, there is a lot of science in that. You can just say, you can just showcase aksharam and say, this is the science of Hindu Sanatana Dharma. I'll show the second back of my presentation. The science of Akshara. Here, the science of Akshara is properly organized based on the vocal system and mouth and origins of that sound, and also some sutras. There is a prayatna, bahe prayatna, abhyantara prayatna. There's nothing but effort. This is called Akshara Samamnayam. In normally, as in the introduction, they said there is a 4 levels of speech as per Vedic philosophy. So there is a philosophy also behind this sound. There is a Spotavada, Kumarila Bhatta, and Bhartrhari. A lot of people, genius, they actually derived a lot of philosophies and great things based on the Shabda Shastra. There are 4 levels. One is Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, and Vaikhari. In general, in simple terms, Para is nothing but the life force, which actually trying to express something, communicate. And that desire is nothing but Pashyanti. He wanted to express something, whether to hand gestures or talk. That is the Pashyanti, is nothing but desire. And afterwards, that will be conceptualized in the human brain. That is Madhyama, medium. That seed state of the sound expressed. Once from here, either you can have a gesture, like hand gesture, or talk. Whatever you talk is called Vaikhari. The Vaikhari, this is our main place. Aksharas will be here. And these Aksharas have deeper meaning under Omkara, like Pranava. There's a lot of states here. Nada, Nadanta, Unmani, Mano, like that. Samana, Unmana, there are 9 states here. That we'll discuss in next session. So our focus today is on Vaikhari, and next sessions will go deeper as per Tantra Shastra and all what they said. So this actually I designed for my sake and for my study and to easily explain. This is Akshara Padmam. Akshara Padmam, there is a dot here, that is Bindu. Bindu is nothing but life force, Para, and Spanda is nothing but the desire to express, that is the circle, and the triangle is nothing but A, U, Ma, that is A, U, M. This combination is Omkara, This is the medium state. From there, the nada will start, and then akachata tapa yesha. I used my Telugu and also Devanagari and ISO 15919 standard. A, ka, cha, ta, tapa. These are 8 vargas. In all the languages you see, even Hindi or anywhere you see, you have a, ka, cha, ta, tapa, yesha. A to a, ka, kha, ga, cha, cha, jana, ta, ta, dana, ta, ta, dana, pappa, babama, yara, lava, sasha, saha. These are 8 vargas. There's a science behind this. So what is that science? What is that exactly this? If you want to discuss about that, first you should know what is balam and prayatnam. Prayatnam is nothing but effort. If you want to speak something, you need to put some effort. That is nothing but balam or prayatnam. That's why in Taittiriya Upanishad, Sikshavali, they say, Siksham vyakhyāsyāmaha varnasvaraha matra balam samasantanaha matra balam, that balam. So in that mantra, Sikhyam Vyakhyasama Varna Swaraha Matra Balam Sama Santana. For each word, there is 100 pages of material. So for Balam also, I am going to explain. You can now believe what I'm talking. So mantras have deeper meaning, and that should be understood. And then if you do research, then you can reveal a lot of things. Here about balam, if you want to understand, you should know two things. Bahya pratnam and abhyantara pratnam. Bahya means external. Abhyantara is interior. What is that external interior? External to the mouth cavity is bahya. Abhyantara is nothing but this mouth cavity. This is interior to this. So combining these two things, you will produce the Vaikari sounds. So there are sutras also for that. Because of the abhyantara pratnam, the aka, chata, tapa, yesha vargas are organized. Before going to this abhyantara pratnam is nothing but a, ka, chata, tapa, yasha. These boxes or groups are based on the abhyantara pratnam, interior effort. Before understanding that interior effort, we should know two things. That is Karanam and Sthanam. Karanam and Sthanam. Sthanam is nothing but a place, fixed point. Karanam is nothing but which actually mobile apparatus, which is moving. For example, my hand is fixed here, it is moving. This actually, when you're clapping, this is a fixed point, this is Sthanam and this is Karanam. Same way, for example, I'm giving you an example is Tatta Daddana, Tha. When you're uttering the tha, the jihva is nothing but tongue is karanam, it moves, and the teeth, that is nothing but fixed point, sthanam. So you touch, that's why they are called dantyas. So sthanam and karanam, there are a lot of sthanam, dental region, dantya, oshtya is lip, nasal cavity, nasal like anunasika, palatal region is murdhanya. When you say tatta dadana, you need to tilt your tongue upwards and touch on the upper palatal, that is murdhanya. And ja, talavya, ya, sha, you need to expand this and say. Yes, sthanam, karanam, then karanam will become the tongue moves and touches. Papa babama is ostya. 2 lips actually becomes a karanam and sthanam. So this is about sthanam and karanam. Now we will discuss about the abhyantara pratnam. Abhyantara pratnam, I already mentioned like this a, ka, chata, tapa, yesha, they are depending on abhyantara pratnam. What is that abhyantara pratnam? Abhyantara pratnams are 5 types. Depends on how the karanam and sthanam touch each other. There are 5 types. Sprastam is nothing but it fully touches. That's why they are called sparshas. Kachata tapa are sparshas. When you are uttering kachata tapa, you touch both. Cha, you touch, ta, you touch both sthanam and karanam. That's why this box is called sparshas. And ishat sprastam, just touch them partially and go back. That is called, example is antastha. Antastha is ya, ra, la, va. Just the tongue touches and goes back. That's why ishat sprastam. And next is ishat vibhutam. opens little bit. Vivrutam is opening, just expands partially is Ishat Vivrutam. You can say Ushma sounds. Ushma is nothing but sa, sha, sa, ha. You just open and say. And Vivrutam, fully open and say. That is swaras, all the vowels. All these things you open mouth and say. Open mouth in the sense the distance between the Karanam and Sthanam there is a gap. That's Vivrutam. Samvrutam is shrinks. When you are applying these swaras in some places, they become shrink. That's Samvrutam. That's why there is a sutra for this. Adhya, Abhyantara Pratyani Panchada. There are 5 types. Sprushta, Ishat, Sprushta, Vivruta, Vivruta, Samvruta Bhedat. Tatra, Sprashta Prayatnam, Sparshanam. There are Sparshas. Ishat Sprushtam, Antasthanam. Antasthanam is Yaralava. Like that, within 4 or 5 lines, you understand entire Akshara Samavnayam and you can memorize. That is the power of sutras. Whereas in alphabetic tradition, if you utter and write, learn, it will take years. That is the power of our Vedic linguistics. And next, not just boxes. Each row in the boxes has some meaning. Each row in the meaning means, each row in the box means this is a box. For example, Kachetadapa is a box or group. In that each group, one row has some meaning, some logic. I will explain that. They are depending on the Varnotpatti Sthana, from where they origin. Kachetadapa. For that, there are sutrams are there. Those sutrams, Panini Siksha or Panini Vyakarana, everywhere normally you see them. These all originated from Pratishakya Vaidika Siksha Granthas as well as Maheshwara Sutras. Maheshwara Sutras also used. I will explain that later. Panini Maheshwara Sutras. That's very simple but very powerful. These sutras are Akuha Visarjaniyanam Kantaha, Ichu Yeshanam Talu, Riturashanam Murdha. Only one line will explain you that entire, the row. For example, Akuha Visarjanayanam Kantaha. Ku means Kavarga. Kakha Gaganga. And Ha. Visarjaniya. Visarja means Visarga. That is Visarga. When you exhale the sound, that is Visarga. All these things are Kantyas. They said all these things from Kantha. You observe, you try to cough. From where it's coming, you can understand. It is not a bookish knowledge, it's our Vedic system. It's an experience, naturally you can experience, and using the Pratyaksha Pramana, you can prove this. Kakha Gagana, they come, when you are coughing means Kakha, it's coming from here. So, Akuha Visarjaniyanam Kantaha. And next thing is, Ichu Yeshanam Talu. Ye. When you're saying ye, you need to expand your jaw. And cha, ya, yaral, ya, sha. All these things are, you expand your jaw. That's why they are called talavya. Ichu Yeshanam Talu. Next thing is Riturashanam Murdha. Sha. When you are uttering these sounds, you need to tilt your tongue upwards on the retroflex cerebral part. This tongue will be 90 degrees angle, and you touch here and Riturashana. All these things you say, and now all these things. That's why it is called Murdhanyas. And next one is Litulasanam Dantya. L and Ru is going to be removed because of the pseudo-intellectuals. They're not aware of all these things and they're trying to remove because that's no use. It is similar to the C pointers or something. For entire thing, this is the pointer. That is the importance of Lu and Ru. Anyways, we'll discuss that in the problems and solutions in next session. Litulasanam Dantya. L Tatha Dadana La Sa. La Sa, also you need to push your teeth with your tongue. That's why they are Dantyas. And next is Upu Upadbhaniyanam Voshtav. Upadbhaniya is the Vedic sound, but U means U. When you are saying U, you need to put your lips as a rounded U. Same way, Papa Babama also, you need to touch both lips. That's why they are called Voshtyas. Upadbhaniya is a special sound in Vedas. Appa. These all Yah, Phalanirya, Ascha Pushpa. In that, this Appa will become Fa. You know, Fa is different and Pa is different. Pa is Vostya, Fa is a Farsi sound. For example, Fal, if you say Fal, that is called Dantyostya, means you touch your upper teeth on the lower lip, Fa will come. Vakarasya Dantyostyam, that is the sutra. Same applies to Fa also. That is not a Savarna, that's not on one place. Pa is Vostya. We only use here lips. So this is about 5 rows. You know, not just rows. Each column in that row also has a meaning. What I mean to say is not ka, cha, ta, ta, pa. Each column in that row also a meaning. There's a science behind that. They didn't just put all these things. If I ask you why A, B is coming after A, maybe you may not answer for that question, but I can talk 2 or 3 hours on this. Ka, ka, ga, ga, ma. There is a science behind this. That is called Bahya Pretnam. Bahya Pretnam is nothing but from here you apply some force outside, from the mouth cavity outside, externally you apply some force. That is called Bahya Pretnam, external effort. Whether you apply from your nose, whether you apply from your, this cavity, larynx, you apply. For example, Nyamagananam Nasikacha. Nyamagananam is nothing but, I'll tell you, Ka, if you understand Ka properly, you can utter all these remaining things. Only Kachatatapa, if you learn, that's enough. You can derive. I'll tell you. Ka is called, you need to shrink your the larynx part and you need to utter Ka. Where you expand it, it becomes Ga. Ka, Ga. Whereas if you put some pressure, that is called Mahaprana. Ka become Ka. Then Ka, little expansion, that becomes Ga. And the same way you try to use the Mahaprana sound, that become Ga. Then you close your nose, utter the Ga or Ka. Then you will get this Nga, 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 Angam, Angam, Nga. So that is the sequence. There is a science. So this column, each column is the elements in the column derived by the Bahya Pretnam. Same way, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya, nya, nya. Then ta, you close your mouth, nose and try to utter, then it comes na. Either you try with da or na. Da and close your nose, you will see na. You'll listen. So that's why the sutra says, if you are trying to write some andam or na, you should write dam, andam. Naturally, there is a sandhi happens. There's a nice sutras also. Antam, antam, antam. So same, the anunasika of the varga should be used. Ankam, ankam. Anjali, Anjali, this ja should be used. Anjali, like that. Amba, amba, amba. So that is use of this, not use. This is the power of our Aksharam Samamnayam. And so Bahya Pretnam is for producing Mahapranas, and also very importantly controlling the sthai pitch levels, Udatta, Anudatta, and also applying for the duration. The fluta, three matra sound, means 3 seconds approximately. Those things also controlled by the Bahya Pretna only. From here only you control. So Swasa Aghosha, Nada Ghosha, Swasa Ghosha, Ka and Ga. The difference is Swasa Aghosha and Nada Ghosha. Voiced and voiceless. So these columns are actually these columns are derived by the Bahya Pretna. There is sutra for that. Bahya Pretna Ekadasha, 11 types. Vivara, Samvara, Mahaprana, Shvaso, Nado, Ghosho, Aghosho, Alpaprano, Mahaprana, Udatta, Anudattaha, Suratas Kharo, Vivaraha. You can here very important thing is Kharo, Vivaraha, Svaso, Aghosha. What is this Khara and Hasha? Instead of explaining about ka, cha, ta, tapa, these things are vivaras, they say that, you know, in a formula type of things, that's called sutra. These sutras are derived from the Panini Ashtadhyayi. Maheshwara is nothing but Shiva, Lord Shiva. From his Dhamaru, Panini grasped some grammatical things, grammatical information, and he wrote Ashtadhyayi. Till now, even computational linguistics also will be mesmerized by that, you know, profoundness. And another person, another Rishi, Nandikeshwara, took this Maheshwara Sutras and he wrote a mystic another thing is called Nandikeshwara Kasika, about the creation and the philosophy, all these things. Same sounds have different meanings. Bharatanatyam Shastra, lot of you know things are written by Abhinaya Darpana, written by Nandikeshwara. So this Shiva Sutras, Panini Shiva Sutras are these. I even relate evom. I think many Sanskritam you know learners you might be knowing this. Here, if I say what is Ach in Telugu and all, we say Achulu. Actually, is nothing but vowels. Actually, how they come? A, I, un, ruler, evo, I, ouch, till A to chi. That's called Ach. The end one is A, I, un, no is a delimiter. Like you need to remove. That is called It. A, I, u, ruler, evo, I, au. These are all the basic vowels. That's why they are called Ach. Achulu. Hal, however, la, all these things till la, hal. They are called halul. The same way, whatever they used here, khar, hasha, also can be derived from here, and you can khar, kha, pa, cha, ta, tha, till khar, r. All these things are, they say, kharo vivara svaso aghoshascha. They are vivaraha svasa aghoshas. Hasha are samvara nada aghoshascha. So ushmas, all these things are one type. And they're saying varnanam pradhama tritiya panchamancha alpa pranaha. Varganam pradhama is nothing but kachata tapa. Tritiya is gajada daba. Panchamancha is nyamaganana. All these things are alpa prana. You should not put a lot of effort on that. Alpa prana, ka, cha, like that. Varganam dvitiya chaturdhau. Dvitiya means kha, cha, tha, tha. Those all dvitiya. Chaturdhau. Fourth ones are gha. Those that entire sequence. Ja, that one. Shalascha, mahapranaha. Shalascha is ya, sasha sa. That is ushmas also mahapranas. You need to put some effort. That's mahaprana. So within the some 3 or 4 lines, 3 sutras, I mean to say 1, 2, 3, 4 sutras, you will understand entire aksharams, basic letters of a language. It is really incredible. This is about the akshara system. It's nothing but a linguistic chemistry element table, Artuksha. That's why not only that, you see this, you know, A to A, so the vowels also organized in a thoughtful way. A, I, Ru, Lu, U, these are all same places. Savarnas, they are A, I, R, L, U. And Rulu, it should be preserved properly. That's very, very important thing. Otherwise, Sanatana Dharma, his entire Sanatana Dharma is depending on this grammar and the aksharams. Rulu should be there in any, either Hindi or Telugu or anywhere. And a simplification process will ruin the, you know, the entire linguistics. So this is about the 5 savarnas. And next thing is Yedaito Kantatalu. Here, from here, they are saying Kantha and Talu. When you mix, then you will see I. You try to utter I sound, I, A, E. A and E combinedly, it produces I. I is a Kantha, E is Talu. That's why they became Kantha Talu. It's very logical and natural. Edaito Kantha Talu. A and I are can be produced by using these two. Odoto Kantoshtam. O is Ostam. Au. When you say au, a and u. A is Kantha, u is Ostya. That's why that is Kantoshtam. That so these all savarnas, and then they organized and they added them. And Hasva, Dirgha, Pluta, extra matras they added 1 second and 2 seconds. Trimatra, Dvimatra, and Pluta is 3 matras. So they organized these vowels. And also Nasika Anuswarasya. Anuswara and Ardhanuswara. Is different. Only you should use the Nasika. And from there, the actual Nada started. That's called A. A is from Kantha. U is the ending point of this entire cavity. That is Ukara. And is Nasika. When you touches the Agna Chakra, that's why Omkara is the root of all the Vedas. Why? Because from here to here to here, all the 3 points are touched. That's Pranava. Then from here, Nada, Nadanta, Chakras. From Sahasrara to Agna Chakra, there are 9 Sukshma Chakras are there. That we'll discuss in next session. That journey will start. From Mooladhara to Agna Chakra, the 6 chakras are mapped with the Vaikhari Matrukas. Matrukas nothing but Akshara Samamnayam. From Mooladhara to Agna. From Agna to Sahasrara, there is a big journey. That is Madhyama and Pashyanti and Para states. That is Sukshma Chakras again, that's a different thing. So from Omkara, again, Nada, Nadatita, so this very important thing is Anuswara, Ardhanuswara, and again, deeper meaning. So 1 second, half second, 1/4 second, then it starts 1/8 second, 1/16 second, it goes in that way. Till 1/1/5 seconds. That is the next step. So this is the use of this Anuswara and Ardhanuswara. And Ksha also have a lot of meaning. Just we don't write Ksha because something. No, not like C and K we are preserving. C is from the Latin and K is from the French, and preserving it very, very carefully. Even though the sounds are similar, it's not the case. Here Ksha has meaning. Once A to A to Ha is done, Ksha actually combination of Ka, Sha and A. You need to start the Sandhi. After the Varna, Akshara, Sandhi should start. That's the meaning of Ksha. That's why they say, Vyanjana said, then Ksha Varna, Ka, Sha, Yogat, something. Yogataha. Like that, they explain many things. And very importantly, these modern phonetics, whatever modern phonetics is based on Vedic phonetics. Karanam, active place of articulation. Sthanam, passive place of articulation. Balam, effort, attempt of articulation or effort, anything. Bahya Pratnam, external effort. Kantha, Velar, palatal. Probably, I guess, this went through the Royal Asiatic Society when Britishers were ruling India in the 18th century. Kolkata Royal Asiatic Society, like Indologists used to brainstorm a lot, and then they started fixing their problems. Their problems means English spelling reform, everything started based on this phonetics and all. So this is the power of Indian phonetics, Indian in the sense, the Vedic phonetics. So this Vedic phonetics can be used as universal extensible phonetical framework, and not can be used, we are using, because you see there are like Sanskritam, there are in southern scripts we have these things. So the great linguist, applied linguists like Nannaya and many people, they imported entire Panini grammar and just expanded, like inheritance and polymorphism in computer science. They expanded and they extended. And also we have Grandhi script in Tamil. They use extra things like Ra, Haragam, all these things. They are preserving existing as well as adding. How much you add, for example, you take Malayalam, Telugu and Kannada, there are a lot of letters. So we can write Farsi, you can write Sanskritam, Telugu, everything. So that is the heart of Vedic Rishis, linguistic diversity. That's why Vararuchi created a great book called Prakruta Prakashika, where he preserved a lot of vernacular languages, Prakrutas, Pali, all these things, apart from the Vedic linguistic. That's the essence of this Varnam and origin points, extensible phonetical framework. Same thing I'm doing. I can say humbly, like same on the footsteps of these great rishis. What I'm doing is I'm teaching to some Telugu people and all. There's some extensible Penu Telugu Ralu. This is nothing but, even I can write Farsi. I'll show you this is Telugu part. I'll show you Devanagari part. For example, Kha, Khawali, QA, Ka and dot. You know, in Devanagari and Mahadevanagari script, we are using that Kha, Khanji. That Kha you should use. Even that is actually extension of this Kantias only. Za, Z, Zarina. All these things you can use. And very importantly, Fa is different. Fa, Va is different. Pa is different. Fal. Fal is not correct. Actually, if you are trying to say Phal in Sanskrit, that is Fal. And Va is different. So they are similar to this, but they are Dantyostam, combination of two places. That's it. No, otherwise, so this we can extend and we can use. This is our greater India. This is the spirit. So like this we can use, and even Dirga, Hrasva, Plutas, there are sounds, there are signs for that. And also Vedic chanting, you have Afpa, Akpa, and La also there in Rigveda. La is there. And also there is Sapta Swaras are there. Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Sa, Sajjama, Rishabha. All these things are also discussed in the Naradiya Pratisha Siksha Granthas, Swararnava. All these things are there. It's a musical thing. Human being can listen anything, can mimic and utter anything. So human being's capability can be preserved as it is, and that the actual objective of the life, the moksha, whatever, can be achieved properly if you practice akshrams, if you practice the Vedic sciences and phonetics, and if you preserve them. That's what I wanted to convey today. Om Shanti Shanti Swasti.
Absolutely brilliant, Mama FG. I mean, I'm still kind of digesting your very first slide. Sorry about that. It's so intense. It's so dense, actually. You know, as our language is, it's so dense. I mean, it's very, it's very tough to even to absorb such an in-depth subject. Very, very well presented. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Before I go to Q&A, I just wanted you to speak about your books, actually. So you've written a few books. Can you please tell us about your books as well?
Yeah, actually, I wrote a book in English, that is Akshara Vinyasa The Rising. And I just show you, that will be uploaded. That will be uploaded in some 1 or 2 weeks. That is actually less than inaugural.
Yeah. Is it a print or is it a digital edition?
It's a print now, but it will be, it's a print, Akshara Vinyasa The Rising. It's a complete reference of this entire, like whatever I spoke, Tantra from Vedic, it's applied phonetics. This English book that will be uploaded as ebook for free distribution. I'm thinking to at least give whoever attended this session that ebook I want to distribute. This one book, and second book is Atomic Truth of Akshara. That will be done and inaugurated next week. That is about the mystical aspects of Akshara, Tantra, and you see a Padma kind of thing here. And I'm more focused on this part. Para Pashanti Madhyama Vaikhari, not Vaikhari, this part. And in Telugu, I wrote a couple of books. That is Aksharojama. Aksharojama is nothing but Akshara Revolution. Why we should digitize, why we should not remove lu and ru, all these things discussed in that book. Akshara Vijnanam is pure subject of this science, Akshara science, and Nandikeshwara Kasika is the mystical aspects of the Maheshwara Sutras. This is written in Telugu. This is about my books written. And
absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I cannot wait for your book because there's a lot of interest as well. Definitely. So with this one, I'll open up this session for questions, please. If you can put in a chat, or you can raise a hand, or you can unmute yourself and ask without conflicts. Yeah, Anuji, please.
Namaskaram andi, Uma Mahesh garu. Na peru Sivaya. Sorry, the name is saying Anu, but na peru Sivaya.
Sorry.
That's okay, not a problem. Talavya ani cheppinappudu adi koncham confusing.
Sivaji, can you please put that in English because most of the participants are not.
Okay, not a problem. Uma Mahesh garu, you know, when I'm talking about the Talavya, where some of the aksharas are related to using Talavya. Talu.
Ichu Yeshanam Talu.
Yeah. Talu, does it mean ja or pellet?
Ja, that is ja only. We use here this part of ja inside the soft pellet, but yeah, what you do is the tongue actually goes back and shrinks and touches the talavya inside, not outside talavya, inside hanu. So it's called talavya because ya, sha, yi, che, je, all these things should be pronounced same way. But if you observe in Telugu, there is a tsa and za. On top of that, there is a ta. Ta vattu, they say. Why? Because there is a logic behind that. When you are saying that tsa, it's a sankirna, it's a hybrid. Use the ta, your jaws as well as ta, means dantya. Ts. Then so the breath comes out from the teeth. Okay. So it's combination. There's a hybrid sound. But talavya is it, not the outside of this ja. Inside of that, you should that will be shrinked, and the tongue will go back and touches that part. That's why that is sparsha.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karthiji, please. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah. It was a wonderful presentation. The only thing is, I wish there was something for dummies so I could have understood it a bit better. But my wife was here explaining it. My only question in the Akshara Chakra, when I saw that, I realized that even Tamil alphabets, I come from Tamil Nadu, I speak Tamil, and we have gone through the whole thing of the Aryan language and Sanskrit and all this nonsense. Tamil and Sanskrit are similar. You have the same a, I, I, u, the same thing. So this can be used and actually shown the similarity, isn't it? You know, because
yes, definitely, sir. Definitely, I will show you one. Still, my screen shared, I think. The Atomic Truth of Akshara. I'll show one of the page in my book. I touch base that part. It's a very important thing because Sangam literature, the recent whatever, like we are using Tamil script, is not as ancient as Grandhi or anything. And the sutras, whatever we use, is similar to the Vedanga Pratishaksha in Tamil. Here, this is the one. You can see this. Do you think Tamilam has less letters? No, miss, there is less letters. As per the Siksha Shastra, there is a Bahya Pratna. Only from Ka you can derive till Ma. So there are sutras for that. Are you
sharing something?
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm not sharing here.
No.
Can I share my screen?
Oh, yeah. You're got full rights. Yes.
Yes. Okay. This page. This page is from my book. Do you think Tamilam has less letters? No. You can see Ka, Nga, Cha, Nya. This is nothing but replica of the sutras.
Yes.
Karo, similar thing. From ka you can derive ka, kha, ga, all these things. They are very intelligent. The Sangam, whoever created the Tolicopier or whatever, whoever. So there is a similarity, Tamil and this language, but Tamil is simplified and given to the, for some purposes by Agastya. But Granthi script used to be the ancient precursor of the Devanagari. Before Devanagari, Granthi used to be, there are a lot of encryptions and all, but Granthi is sidelined nowadays because of some reasons in Tamil Nadu, Granthi script and these limited alphabets got introduced and all. So we need to do more research and make laminate on this.
My only my understanding is this Tamil was simplified to this extent by Bishop Caldwell, who's known as Veerama Munivar. And he was the one who actually introduced the Aryan Dravidian theory. So he was the one who removed this number of the different palatal and things like that and brought it to this stage. So that is my understanding. I'll try to get some.
Definitely, we need to eradicate all this unscientific. Thank you.
Definitely, there is a Breaking India force that's been working for a long time. So Srinivasa Varanasi, please, can you?
Thank you very much, sir. So for a wonderful presentation, Uma Garu. Like Rajgopal Garu mentioned, very difficult for me to really comprehend because I come from what you have presented. It appears that I'm nowhere near to even ready to understand, except my limitation is only up to Telugu. However, from my previous conversations with you, I understand that there are some sutras which you mentioned even now for Tamil as well. So may I ask how many sutras are there and the fundamental difference which we have been conversing a little earlier between the English language and our traditional languages like Tamil and Sanskrit in Telugu as well. What are this fundamental difference? Would you mind shedding some light on that?
Yeah, actually, our first thing is Vedic phonetics. Vedic phonetics, each shaka has their own rules. For example, not shaka, I'll generalize like four Vedas. Four Vedas, they have their own rules. And each Veda, for example, Rig Veda has Agni Med Le. There are La in Rig Veda. Some shakas they say as Agni Mede, Le also. Like Rabdi and all, you see in Bihar and the northern part of India, Dra is pronounced differently. That is also one kind of, usage. So they preserved all these things based for their shaka purpose, like branch purpose, Vedic branch. And based on the sutras, now only out of 1,000 shakas, there are only 30. Other things gone. So, and then that is a Vedic phonetics part. So there is a diversity in the Varnamala also. There are some 60 syllables and 64 syllables, like that they say. And afterwards is Sanskrit. Sanskritam is the Vyavaharik Sanskritam, there are 50. And for Tantric, there are 51. La will be added because the Agna Chakra has Ha, La, both things, and Sha is the Sushumna. Like that they compared and they used. And when it comes to the vernacular language, what this applied linguists, I mean to say that Nannaya, all this, when they're writing grammars, there is a grammar for Karnataka, there's a different grammar. And for Telugu, Nannaya derived the Panini grammar, and they added the whatever the Varnas used, as well as Sanskritam, and they developed it. But the case of European languages, I mean to say English is, I can't actually compare English with Sanskritam or our languages, maybe Latin or Greek. They also have proper linguistic, rules and all, not as great as Sanskritam, but English is far away. It's a kind of, they started around 16th century and they derived because they're ruled by Latin people, I mean to say the Romans as well as French. That's why under their influence, they got some of the pieces and they developed. But the phonetics and the alphabetic tradition is different, teaching is different, and also after printing, the teaching methodology is different. After printing, everything became number of counting letters mindset. How many letters you have? Oh, I have 51. You have 52. Not depends on sutras or formulae. It is all about how many printed letters. Everything is text. Our culture is different, not text. It is memory and Shruti Vijaya.
Sound-based one instead of text-based.
Sound-based.
Are there for us?
Sir, can you please repeat, sir?
How many sutras are there for us?
There are 14 sutras. Like whatever I shown,
Right.
is some sutra, not just 14. I will show you if again chance is given. I will show one Taitriya Pratishakya book.
Right.
It is not just one. I explained only 14 important things. This is Taitriya Pratishakya.
Right.
It has almost 60 pages. These are all sutras. Two short, long, similar, and how should be produced. Pa, va, this should be produced. Not ha, na hakaraha. So these all depends on sutras only. So the entire Taitriya Pratishakya means Taitriya Yajurveda Samhita, when you are practicing, all these things should be considered. These are rules kind of thing. Word text, syllable text, letter text, and gum, Ganapati, gum is used in the Yajurveda, but whereas Ganapatim, they say Ganapatim for Rigvedas and all, Rigvedics. So these all depends on the sutras, but main, whatever I explained is around 14. 14 which are, 14 of the Maheshwara Sutras, 14 are important thing for Bahya, Abhyantara Preknas, and the Varnotpatsthanas. 28 is enough.
That's great. Thank you, sir.
Anyone has got a question? Niharji, please.
Hello, sir.
Hi. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. My name is Nihar. I'm actually from a Kannada-speaking region, and I'm completely new to this things you are speaking about. But what I want to ask is, can you tell me, because if a Telugu, it's very easy. Like if you are a Kannada person, it's very easy for you to understand the Telugu.
Yeah.
But if you are a Kannada-speaking person, it's very difficult to understand Tamil. So can you tell me the similarity between Kannada and Sanskrit? Because it's very easy for me to understand Sanskrit and even to read it. Why so? Can you explain?
Yeah, even for Kannada is derived, the grammar is derived by Katantra Vyakarana. Katantra Vyakarana is also another, there are nine grammars ancient days, Panini, Katantra. Katantra grammar is, then they expanded the Karnataka, whatever, like Kannada, Telugu, and even Tamil, as per the even Dravidian theory also, they got branched out some time back. But all these things are theorems only. But Tantrika Vidyalaya, in Karnataka, right?
Yeah. It's very easy for me to.
What is Tantrika Vidyalaya? It is Sanskritam only.
Something institutions.
Yeah, engineering college. They say Tantrika Vidyalaya. Vishwavidyalaya is Sanskritam only. Yeah. We just add some words at the end because see, for administrative purposes, you need to have a proper language, or for introspection or spirituality, you need proper words, vocabulary. So some of the languages, they don't have only for eating and materialistic purposes, they might use their language, but some of the languages can be used for administrative, spiritual purposes. Latin is one example, is very well suited for administrative purposes, but Sanskritam is used for administrative, all states of the brain, like Ananda, Santosha, all states of psychological feelings, everything you can explain. So whatever language you are using, if you can't explain in that language, then you have to depend on other thing. If you are not depending on Sanskritam, you have to depend on English. You use administrative. That is actually English has that Latin touch. So administrative, you say. Adhikara, I say in Sanskritam. Whereas in Kannada, Telugu, and I can say Telugu also.
Yes.
I use Palana, Paripalana. That is Sanskrit only.
Yes, yes.
So,
And also, sir, since I'm new to these studies, can you suggest me some books, like Sanskrit books, which are translated in English, or English written books, so that I can get deep into these studies? Because I'm new to these.
I think many people are saying probably you can need to start with Samskrita Bharati or whatever spoken Sanskrit classes. Many of our friends also here, they're doing Aksharam people are doing Chamu Krishna Prasad Sastri, all this. So it is easy to talk and understand vocabulary. That's easy.
Okay.
If you Google it, you'll get a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Similar question. Sorry. On
Yeah, go ahead.
similar lines.
Yeah.
So when we are talking about like different languages, sir, like basically we have different scripts for Telugu, Tamil, Kannada and Malayalam and everything. But most of the languages are branched out from the same kind of phonetics and the sounds. So where does this differentiation come in the script? I want to understand that.
Yeah. Actually, phonetics has no differentiation. Phonetics is like kind of a screen. What movie you play, that is your wish. Phonetics is that kind of thing. Whereas from phonetics, when you derive the second part is etymology. Etymology are nothing but the words, how you produce the words. If I say word as jeg or in my language, that jeg will be taken as a word, but jeg, that phonetics is same, sound is same. So to write the j, g, I can use any painting. That is called grapheme. Phoneme is nothing but the sound. Sound is not attached to any meaning. Meaning comes when padartha comes. Padartha is nothing but the word and one object. You map it and you say some meaning. Until then, language won't take birth. Language comes when after phonetics, after the words, after the sentences, then your conversation. So all these languages are started from the grammar, different types of grammars. But all our Indian languages, similarity, if you see, they are subject, object, verb kind of thing. You see in English, you can't actually shift. I am doing, I am. You can't do that. But whereas all Indian languages we can do. Aham vadami, vadamyaham, I can say. నేను మాట్లాడుతున్నాను నేను మై బాత్ కర్ రहा हूं మై I can say all these things. So this shift is common, but whatever words you use, whatever terminology you use depends on your circumstances. That's why in Brihaddeshi Matanga Rishi told yatha depends on the geographical locations, language and the words will change, but that happens, that is required. That is the main motto of rishis. Even though we are divided, how much we are harmony, that is the Vedic system. Not one language or one administrator that kills everything. That's not our Sanatana Dharma's motto. So phonetics is different. Phonetics is kind of, blank screen. Whatever movie you do. So Akshara framework is independent of all the languages. You can write anything in the world using Aksharams.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, sir.
Thank you. Still you have a question, please.
We got one more question from Pragnaji.
Yeah. Namaskaram, Mahesh Garu.
Namaste.
And thanks Raj Garu also for it. Actually, I have my daughter also here who attended the session. That actually initially when I was actually looking for this session, probably with all the the group and all, I thought it will be only just for a thing. But given that I asked her to sit and she enjoyed it because she started learning Sanskrit from Madras Sanskrit College, and she definitely was, what we are talking is she got definitely benefited out of some of the things. I mean, probably there are some of the things which probably went over her head, and definitely myself as well. But my question here is like this, Uma Mahesh Garu. The thing is, like, particularly what you have given the breaking thing is that this particular thing is a basic thing which should be started from the kids. That's what I'm understanding, if I'm not right. I mean, if I'm not wrong, sorry.
Yeah. Actually, it's See, if it is not, if we want to start from kids,
My question is around that only, like, particularly, not going into too much technical, how do we, because everybody now learning Telugu, whatever their native language, and trying to put their own efforts on, try to preserve and give it to their kids, like me and so many parents like that. So how do you, of course, your session is as basic as it is, and as well as advanced it is. So how do we get that to kids?
Yeah, because to get to the kids, first thing is, unfortunately, all the elders also, they didn't focus on, everybody, we think like aksharams or whatever, akshar or Hindi or whatever Tamil, we think they are very small. That's only for kids, not for elders. But using the aksharam, you can actually go till self-realization state. So first step is, all the elders should spend 1 or 2 hours and understand the sutrams and teach to their kids, like as per their frequency, in a tidbit way. That's actually the correct way, because since our education system is not incorporated all these things, that is one unfortunate thing. We have to bat ourselves. So the autonomous units are families. The elders of the family should learn this 1 or 2 hours they can spend and learn, and then propagate, like Sthanika Swaparipalana, like self-governance thing. That is the only solution we have. Since it is not incorporated in syllabus, either India or anywhere, everybody tagging this as Sanskrit. It is not Sanskrit. It's on every language in India. Aksharams are there, but they're just sidelining and simplifying it. And they're putting their own brain, which is not actually scientifical. And they're ruining, unfortunately, what we can do is, we have to do ourselves now. Every family, elders, they need to understand this and teach to their kids. As of now, that's the solution.
Okay. If I'm allowed, I have one more continuing question. Is it okay?
Yeah, I think.
See, the thing is, like right now, there is a Telugu class which is as a part of the Victorian government initiative, where or whatever my kids goes there. The overall thing is there is a bit of a difference what the way the things are. It is coming out is like, of course, the Varnamala, whatever it is, and Gunintams and the words, but the phonetics is not actually being blended into that. How do we can use our your whatever you are telling to bring in that, so that kids don't get lost, and then they may move forward and they say, oh, okay, sorry, we actually missed the basic things of it. So how do
yes sir,
how do at least probably I can't influence the Mahabadi people, but at least how do I blend that in my education, or at least I will talk to those people how to blend that. That's my question.
That's only I raised this topic in my book Aksharodhyamam. Unless the traditional teaching, Sanskrit teaching based on the sutras, formulae, are not introduced in any level, like either governance. In India also the same problem. They are teaching like, that's called alphabetic education system. Like alphabetic is, they teach them as a grapheme, script keep on, you need to utter that, and there are fixed letters, number of letters, that's it. You need to by heart, and then this is built on top of that. Only it will be solved when we introduce our traditional Sanskrit kind of formula system. Then it is easy to understand. It will reduce the workload and stress on the kids, as well as I can preserve our traditional sutras, Sanskrit and related, as well as languages. So only solution is by heart it, keep on. We need to raise this topic to all the governments, not only here in India also. And it is easy to run a pilot and teach. Yeah.
Thank you, Momesh Garu. That's really helpful.
That is only solution is changing the policymakers. For our levels, we can strive. We can. We have a lot of training videos and all. But that is only pouring water on the leaves, not the roots.
So at least this time I have one thing over my daughter's discussion. She was actually, when she talks in English, in Australian accent, and then when I talk in, there is a bit of a differences in the way we at least I speak coming from, typical Andhra side, learning from the school. And then particularly, I always, have a bit of an argument that the way I say, and I always lose because she says that you're always pronouncing. So, and even I also used to give references of how Australian. So the phonetics in English changes as per the geography. So what does that mean is this forum, there are multiple people are there, and everybody mostly our phonetics are the same. So that's
actually sir, I just wanted to add something here. Phonetics means not just the flat structure, all not just. There's a musical aspect also added in our Vedic phonetics. Very importantly, dialects can be preserved. You are saying Telugu has some musical raga. English has their own raga. Hindi has their own raga. That is also got preserved by Vedic phonetics. If you understand that, you can speak, you can mimic, you can do mimicry like English person, French person, Telugu person, Hindi person, or anybody. That thing is missing now. That can be introduced by Vedic. That is the greatness of Vedic scholars. They can speak like anyone with that musical tone. That is missing now for kids.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Sorry, I took probably a long time.
That's fine. That's a good question, actually. So here, I'd like to intervene here. I'd like to invite Dr. Meenakshi ji. She's running a Sydney Center School in Sydney. I just want to ask her, what is your experience in teaching Sanskrit? I mean, Mohammed ji has described, has got a theory on teaching Sanskrit. What is your experience while you are teaching? You've been running this for the last 10 years or so.
Dhanyawad, Raj Garu. As the main speaker, Umaji, is speaking, we are introducing the Sanskrit through the sutras. Once the kids are very happy with the sutras, because everything should be short and cream and crispy for them. They don't want your lectures, they don't want your anything. So I totally agree with Umaji, because if I say Akoha Visarjaniyanam Kantaha Icheshanam Talu, they will pick up in such a way. The oral tradition is the best tradition to preserve that energy. How he was saying, we introduced the same in Maheshwara Sutra, starting with Maheshwara Sutra, how it is aligned with the 14 sutras of the Varnotpatti Sthanani Sutra and the Sandhi Sutra. All these things we give parallelly, and then we introduce the similar kind of phonetics, similar kind of writing techniques, and the box system, all those things. It is very differently adapted in our school. That is how we are introducing. I totally agree with Umaji. And Akshara Bandha we do, Matrika meditation we do. Through Matrika meditation, the flower, Akachata, Thapa and Yasha, and how the La, Kshatra, Gnya are the different, how it is a Sandhi, everything we introduce in a Paniniyam grammar camp. So that is where the technique comes there.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that one. Mahesh ji, just for your thing, probably you want to have a coordinate with Dr. Meenakshi ji. She's running the Sydney Center School for the last 10-15 years, I guess. I think she's our our guide and guru here.
Krishna.
So thanks, Meenakshi ji. And then there are a few more questions. Couple of more questions here. There's one question from, I don't get the name here, I just have the number here, 61423. Would you like to ask the question, or would you like me to ask the question? Okay, probably I'll ask the question.
This is a similar question of like Satya ji.
Yes. And it's like, so the question reads something like this. It's an, okay, I'll ask the question then. So it was a wonderful presentation. I got a question regarding naming the Sanskritam and local languages. Why does naming change? For example, in Hindi, we name Rama, in Sanskritam it becomes Ramaha, and Tamil it becomes Raman. Can you please describe this phenomena?
Actually, names, again, they depends on their how they wanted to, Ramji or whatever they wanted to add, they add. And also Hindi got influenced by Braj and Prakrutas. They got that kind of thing. And Tamil has their own rules and regulations, so they have Raman. Last that we added. Whereas in Telugu we have Ajanta. Ajanta is Ach, and all the it's vowel ending. So we add Ramu, Dumu. Some vibhakti will be added. That is the reason. You can utter and respect others. That's the but not always like I have been listening. Ram is correct, Yoga is correct, Yoga is correct, or Yogaha is correct. Instead of all these things, like we need to respect their own mother tongue and their however the person is named, that should be pronounced. For example, in Keralites they say Ramya, they say Ramya. We need to call them as Ramya only. In Bengali, somebody say Bengal, you should say Bengal, not Vanga. It is again, there are some oppressions happens like political, religious oppressions actually hampers the linguistic diversity. Whereas if you are ruled by some Islamic ruler somewhere, they eradicate all the other languages and customs and they rule. We are not like that. In Sanskritam is not like that. We just empower others. There's a coexistence happens. We make them excel, but we need to utter the nouns as per their mother tongue, how it is pronounced. Yeah, but if it is Sanskritam related, then we need to follow Sanskritam rules. That's what my answer to this.
Yeah,
please.
I would like to add Umaji's statement. For example, if the Gujarati Pandits, if they say Sahasrashirsha Purushaha, they say Sahasrashirsha Purukhaha. So the Sha is replaced by Kha. It is a school difference.
Yes, school difference.
School. It is a basic school difference.
Siksham Vyakhyasam, they say Sikhna came from that only.
Yeah, correct. And one more thing, when we speak in Kannada, Kathina we say. According to Kannada, it is correct. But when it comes to Sanskrit, it cannot be Kathina. It is Kathina. Because there is a sutra, Atkupvangnam Vyavayepi Sutra. Because of that sutra, the na cannot come, only the na can become. So in the same way, Garjana they say in Kannada. But there is no such word in Sanskritam. It is Garjana. Garjana, Simha Garjana. So these are, we respected each one's regional pronunciation and we protected, preserved it and passed on to the next generation. These are the differences we have, but we belongs to Aryavarta.
Aryavarta. Yes, Meenakshi madam. That's why like we have Tatsama, Tadbhava, all these things.
Correct.
Words.
Yes. Tatsama, Tadbhava. Yes. And Moola. We
preserved like that.
Yes, it is preserved like that.
It's a beautiful garden actually. So, but so this secularist wants to smash it and then convert into
Yes, Ji, that's very important. In a linguistic diversity, if any weed is trying to kill the other plants, that is not linguistic diversity.
Correct.
We are protecting all the trees, but one plant is trying to swallow those things. Then we should have rules also.
Correct.
True. Very true. Very true. I think I got one more question from Suryamji.
Suryamji.
That probably I'll take one more after that. Suryamji, can you please unmute yourself and ask? Okay, probably I will move to the next one. There's one question from Bhaskaraji asking that where can I get your Telugu works? He's from Visakhapatnam.
That is on lulu.com and also kinigi.com.
Okay.
Kinigi.com. I can probably share that links to you, sir.
Yeah, I'll send that across to you. Okay. Suryamji, are you still, are you able to unmute yourself and ask the question, or we can, probably we can I think call it a day for this session. Okay. I think probably we can call it a day. I think we are past our time as well. So next week, so before we go, what's for next week? Uma Maheshkaru? What is the next slide?
Akshara influence on various aspects like linguistic diversity and Aryabhatti at different enumeration. What are the current problems and solutions? Mainly ISO 5919, all these things, like what are current challenges we have for Akshara and where and all this Akshara influenced Tantra, Mantra, all other aspects.
Sorry for interruption. Namaskara.
Namaskar.
Surimji, yes, okay. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Suringar.
Umameshwarji.
Yeah, please. Namaskaram, Suringar. Surenji.
Yes, it is a very power-packed presentation. But I'm sure, I think you are following it up with more in the series, which will make it more practical, because as the Sanskrit teacher has been telling that it's more practical. I think Srimati
Meenakshi, yeah.
So it's more practical. Yes, definitely. When we are children, definitely we'll swallow even the sutras when they are recited in Sanskrit. That's very good. But this being demonstrated, it should be like more like a. Unfortunately, in this kind of a situation, we cannot have face-to-face one. But I was a benefactor of one of Umaji's, one session, a practical session in local Ramakrishna Math. For children, he has all these Karana, Sthana, everything. He has taken some instruments, and then he has shown these things. And surprisingly, they really absorbed that very efficiently. So what I suggest is these things for Umaji. I think when you are making it audiovisual like this, if you can make some slides like dynamic slides, where for example rata, when you are saying that will fold the tongue, trip of the tongue, all these things we are doing it. Miraculously, when you hear a sound, we do it, but we are not conscious of it. So making people conscious of it is very important. I think that's what the power of Akshara is, to know what, to be aware of the power of Akshara. We use Akshara, but we are not knowing it. So for that, I think it should be more demonstrative. And also one more thing I would add, many people, for example, they take pride in not being able to pronounce certain things. Like I'll tell a famous example from Telugu movies that so-called notorious N.T. Ramarao cannot pronounce Gnya. So he will say Agana. Idina Agana, he will say. So people have adopted that. Many people, nowadays, some people try to imitate the people who are famous. So why they are not able to do it? Gana, where from Gnya should come and where Gana. So as Srimati Kartaji is telling, that meditation on Akshara, Matras. So each Akshara pronouncing many number of times and asking them to be conscious of the definition sloka, whether that is corresponding to your Anubhava. This is, I think, in another session you have to do, because basically the benefit of these things, unfortunately, we are speaking in English only. But anyway, the point is that you can speak any language once you know the Aksharas. So what my suggestion is to make it more practical, the sessions more practical oriented.
Sure, sir. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that.
And especially many people are learning Carnatic music. So children are facing, for example, they learn the pronunciation of English here. They say, well, P, whenever it comes P, Sarigama, Pa, so that putting that Ekaram and all that. So these things have to be, they might need to be made understand that you can pronounce our language if you know the origin of the sound. So this has to be made more practical. And for example, Na, many people, they cannot say Na just because they are not made aware of where to put their tongue. To explain that it is very difficult. So Uma Maheshwarji has brought out very nicely Bahya Pratna. Those things have to be made practical.
So
it is, yeah, Surendra, it is similar to the yoga only. Unless until it is like eating with hand.
yeah,
Unless until you experiment, if you know you can eat with hand
yes.
without spoon, people will believe. Same way,
Correct.
how
That's why
naturally
I
it
want
comes.
your even. That's why I want your even first sessions also. For example, today it is not just you have exposed many terms, so people go away with, oh, excellent, oh, we have a lot of terms, so there's so many definitions. But when it comes, if you don't experience it yourself, it is not useful at all. Vyartha, everything. See, unless you experience. If you experience, yes, you will definitely memorize that sloka because, oh, that is telling truth. So that's why make even from the first session itself, you make it, more practical.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And very importantly, this is a Pratyaksha Pramana, sir. Surendra. Pratyaksha Pramana means we can experience it with the perception. It is not a bookish thing. It is not a belief. And also human being can mimic anything in the world with that music, anything, even birds also can imitate, but only that mimicry should be a part of in their curriculum. So they should not be restricted to any one language. Human being is the swasa by birth, he gets the soham, hamsa, as well as the language, tongue. This can be used, the body can be used for yoga. That is the main motto of our rishis. We can use with any kind of language or phonetics that can be taught to them. That's it.
Yes. So another question, people are asking why Ramaha in one language, Raman. See, Vedic system will not deny diversity, but all diverse things are based in Akshara. That's what Vedic system is telling. It doesn't mean that everybody, like in Communist Party, should wear only red. It's not to make it a monoculture. Yeah. Diverse cultures. Just Rumaji covered now certain languages in Indian languages. I think in the next session you can also say some Germans, like they put 2 dots and U and how it is pronounced. All these things can be done through this Akshara system. I suppose even some Nordic languages also can be pronounced through Akshara system. So the Akshara system is a very versatile thing which makes you pronounce even animals sound when it has to be.
Yes. That's Sarigama Padanisa is Sa, Shadjama, Rishabha is based on that only.
Yes, exactly. And I think Srimati Karta will also be agreeing to that. For example, the very word padas like Vyaghara. Vyaghara is tiger. Tiger, ghar. See that in that itself, even in the very word itself, you get the suggestion of what it is experientially. Vyaghara, you see, like that, So something like that, it's very wonderful system. So make it very, definitely we are exposed by Umaji to that dense, and very beautiful world. And we hope to have more practical sessions in the where children also can join. Okay.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sriram Garu. Thanks a lot. Maybe the last question is that would you be sharing the slides? What's the deal with Umagar? Or you have the book itself?
Next. Yeah, I will share the book as well as sessions. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That would be wonderful. So this session will be recorded. We will upload it to YouTube and send the link across to all the people so that you can listen it again.
Thank you.
I think we are past our time now. I think wonderful time, wonderful session. We'll meet again next Saturday, same time at 7 p.m. Sydney time. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.